Well, we're here at Wild Oak, as you can probably tell because it says there. But Mel's here with us as our nutritional mastermind from No Regrets Personal Training down in Mitcham. Now, by special request, we're going to cook a little dish here. It's one I'm particularly fond of, and it's one you might enjoy at home as well. What we're going to do is we're going to make a pate. Now Mel was suggesting that pate would be a great dish to make at home because you can have it for lunches and
for sure.
store it, and it lasts, and it's a good snack.
Yeah, so this was by my special request to get this. I've never seen pate made before, so I asked Ben if he could do this for us. But pate is a snack that I suggest to clients. It's any organ meat is fantastic. It's really high in purine, and purine is found in protein. So the higher the purine in a protein, the more satisfied you're going to stay from it longer. Don't be scared of the fat in this either, because you're not going to need to eat a lot of this to keep you satisfied.
No,
so
it's quite filling really, isn't it?
Yeah, you only need a small amount of pate, but as a snack in the afternoon, that'll get rid of any sugar cravings and keep you satisfied right through till dinner. So this is one of my favourite snacks for an afternoon.
Alright, so we're working with duck livers today, which are slightly bigger than chicken livers. You could use any sort of liver really for this recipe, but duck livers are particularly tasty and a favourite of mine. Now that we've finished the fat talk and we're all on the same page that it's super healthy, I'll just get out
the fat.
My little lock of butter there. Now, first things first, we need to build the foundations of this dish. So we need to work the aromats or the aromatics, which is basically the onion and garlic. So I've got a terrific Analon non-stick pan here. When you're working with these non-stick pans, they're really useful because you don't have to spend too long cleaning them out, but you don't want to get them super duper hot before you put anything in. Otherwise, it releases some chemicals that you don't really want in your body. Mel's going to give that a stir while we go along. So we've got some onion and we've got some garlic that I'm just chopping up, and we're just going to saute it off to add some colour to it. Now this is going to build the flavour and the structure in the dish.
And garlic's great for antifungal as well, so it's a good little addition to any recipe.
Yeah, garlic's terrific for you, isn't it?
Antifungal properties, yeah.
Now, get those in, get them cranking, and we want to put a little bit of colour on those. With the liver's so high in iron too that it's almost a multivitamin. It's like an iron tablet. It's terrific for you. I think it's quite underutilized as an ingredient, as a protein. Now I've got some bacon here. Oh, that onion's giving me a little bit of. I'm starting to tear up a little bit. So once we get a little bit of colour on the onions, we're going to add some bacon here. Now, if you don't eat pork, you can just leave it out. And don't get the lean bacon. Get the bits with the fatty bits on. That tastes the best. Oh, excuse me. Now, we want to just get a little bit of colour on there so it's nice and nutty. So while we're tracking, I've just got some herbs here as well, which we're going to add a little bit later on. Herbs, I always whack on about herbs. Herbs are terrific, you know, they grow like weeds. You can have them at home, you can have them in the shelf. They've got terrific medicinal qualities and health properties, and they also add a load of flavour. So
when you're using fresh herbs, does it matter at what stage of the recipe you put them in? Or
I'm going to put this further towards the end of the recipe, and the reason being is that I want more of the all herbs have got natural oils in them, or sometimes we call them the volatile oils, but that's why dried herbs are sometimes stronger, because they've actually they've got less moisture and more of the volatile herb flavour. So we want this as a sort of a sharpish sort of flavour right at the end. So I'm going to put these in towards the end. So I've got a bit of parsley and a bit of oregano, and I'm not too militant about what I'm putting in. I just like to pick what's fresh in the garden, and I think the closer you get to growing stuff, the healthier you'll be, because you've got more access to whatever's the most fresh and the most nutritious at that particular time.
Seasonal, really important.
Yeah, I mean seasonality, the more you're eating seasonal, the less likely you're buying things that are genetically modified, highly fertilised, highly pesticised, highly transported from somewhere else. You think global, eat local. Now, we'll get to the end of this recipe. There is a reasonable amount of butter in this, and a lot of people get a bit shocked, but the one thing with fat, and I guess a lot of people aren't so sure with this whole paleo movement, but quite often you can eat a reasonable amount of fat and still stay quite lean, or still stay quite, or lose weight. But it's when you combine fat with processed sugar and processed carbohydrate that you really come unstuck. So if you're going to have a high fat diet, I mean personally I think you need to get rid of the sugar out of your diet, refined sugar, and also get rid of grain-based carbohydrate.
Processed foods. Killer.
Alright, so that smells absolutely divine. There's nothing like bacon and onion. So once you get a bit of colour in there, we're just going to get these livers in, and I need a little bit more butter just to saute them off. Ooh. Now with liver, one thing a lot of people do is they overcook them and they start to get dry and grainy. So I think people overcook them because they're not too sure where they have to take them off. But liver you can cook sort of medium to medium rare. You just want to sear them off, and that'll do it. So give them a bit of a jostle around, and we'll just keep them moving for a bit. I'm going to give it a little bit of a seasoning there. I always use a sea salt flake, or you can use Himalayan pink salt. I think that's quite good with it.
Very good.
It's an antibacterial as well, isn't it? An antifungal.
You don't want to use table salt, so you want to use something that's coarse, or something you've got to grind, but you don't want to use just your table salt.
Because it's better up.
It is better up.
Alright, now we're going to give this a really good whack of seasoning. So a lot of salt and a lot of cracked pepper here, and the reason being is that we're going to be eating it cold. Now when you eat something cold, it's got less flavour receptors in it than when you eat it hot. So if you're eating these hot and cooked like this, you taste more than when you eat it cold later on.
That's a good tip.
So give it a really good whack of pepper. Obviously if you don't like pepper, don't give it a really good whack of pepper. Now a little bit more seasoning there. And what I'm going to do when these are sealed, they probably only take about 5 minutes to cook these livers. Now a lot of people would associate liver pate as being a long, hard recipe to cook that takes forever, but it really doesn't have to be. This is going to be quite a quick and easy recipe. Now that one needs a little bit longer.
So when you're feeling that, what are you feeling for to tell if it's medium or medium rare?
Yeah, I want to tell how much resistance is in there. Now, what you're looking for is still a little bit of pink in the liver. So you want to cook through a fairly reasonable amount, but you still want to retain some pink. So if you're not sure, you can just slice him open and have a look.
Yeah. And will that keep cooking once you turn the heat off as well? So
a little bit, yeah. Have a go of that. As a dish, this one here, add a touch of cream or a touch of butter, finish it with brandy. It's a cracking dip. Super tasty.
Have
so
some steamed green veggies on the side.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Now that they're cooked there, we're just going to deglaze the pan with a bit of brandy. Now, the brandy gives it a lovely clean flavour. We're just going to cook off the alcohol out of that for a few minutes, but it just gives it a sharp flavour, so you've got multi-levels of flavour. If you're not into alcohol or whatever, you can leave it out. Maybe if you don't want the booze, just add a bit of citrus, but we're burning off all the alcohol anyway, so it's not a great big deal.
So
all
you
right.
wouldn't use a stock? Would you?
You could use some stock, but you're after a high-level cleansing sort of flavour that you get from alcohol, and you also get from citrus a bit too. Alright, so we're going to switch that off now. So just press that big red button for me. We're just going to let that rest. Now I'll just drop these herbs in there. I'm just going to let them sit in for a little bit and just mould into the flavour.
So how long do you rest it for, Ben?
We're going to rest that for about 2 minutes, and we're going to set up the blender.
Cool.
So once we've let them rest for a minute, what we're going to do is we're going to blend them up. So we'll get Mel to be in charge of blending here. So what we want to do, we'll do it in a couple of stages here. So we'll put about, I don't know, about half of it into the blender at a time, and you want a bit of juice in there as well. And hit go on there. What we're going to do while we're blending it, we're going to add about probably a third of the amount of liver weight. We're going to add butter to that, and we're going to whip it in while it's warm. So I'll just give that a bit of a, at the start it takes a bit to get moving, but give that another nudge, and then we'll give it another stir. There we go. Now it's coming together. I'll give it another nudge.
So the butter helps that to come together.
So we want to cream the butter through as we whip it. Oh yeah! I'll give it one more quick stir. So what we're looking for is, so you can see on the side there, it starts to blend through nice and smooth. You don't want it too grainy. Alright, give that one more whip through. Beautiful. Alright. Done like a dinner.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is you can just pour that into ramekins or any container. Store that in the fridge and let it set. If you want to keep it for a long period of time, you can melt some butter over. Just pour the butter on the top, and that locks out the oxygen layer that makes it go bad. But that's delicious. The only thing you need to be careful of is don't let your butter sit in with your warm livers before you blend it, because it's going to separate and you're not going to get that lovely creaminess. You want to whip that butter in right at the end, and that gives you that nice creaminess. But there you go.
How long does it take to set?
Oh, it'll be set in about an hour.
Awesome.
You can pack it in your work lunch. You can make 10 of these in a go and have it for the whole week, and they store quite well, and it does freeze as well.
Okay.
Now that there is a super cheap dish too. You know, you're talking livers are, you know, $6 a kilo in some cases. Very filling. Onions are cheap, garlic's cheap, bacon's not that expensive, so it's also a bit fancy pants as well.
It is fancy, and like Ben was saying, he's really shown you two dishes here. So we've got the pate, and then like he was saying before, just adding some cream to this, and you've got a meal by itself, and just add, like I said, on the side some steamed green veggies. Yeah. You could even put that through a salad the next day.
Yeah, you could. You could slice them up through a salad.
You know, and they are really organ meat.
Eat them in winter. Super high in iron will stop you from getting sick. And if you're pumping iron too,
you need that protein.
Yeah. Right.